Former AEW Women's World Champion Britt Baker hits out at claims on social media that she cheated on Adam Cole whilst they were in a relationship together. Return plans for Alexa Bliss to WWE television reportedly have been shelved indefinitely due to an ongoing contract issue. You're the ratings for Saturday's episode of AEW Collision, the Maximum Carnage edition of the show on TNT. More details on Ricky Stark's AEW status amid rumours he has requested a release from the company. The Hurt Syndicate win the AEW World Tag Team Championships on Dynamite. Christopher Daniels confirms his match against Hangman Page on Collision was his final match as an in-ring competitor. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay will team up at AEW Grand Slam Australia. The Death Riders attack the Rock and Roll Express on Dynamite. TNA will be bringing Impact live to Full Sail University next month. Former TNA star Crazy Steve appears prior to AEW last night. Powerhouse Hobbs has a match scheduled for AEW Collision Homecoming. Several matches have been announced for AEW Dynamite next week. One Dynamite match for this week was cancelled due to fight cancellations from winter weather. Details on WWE's internal reaction to CM Punk's shot at Hulk Hogan on Raw this week. Plus, the House of Black revealed their plans following the impending AEW departure of Malachi Black. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with Britt Baker heading out on social media. Now, it's been a busy few days for the former AEW Women's World Champion, with speculation swirling regarding her future with All Elite Wrestling. But she's hit out at claims on social media regarding her past relationship with fellow AEW star Adam Cole. Now, during his podcast, former WCW star Conan discussed the end of Britt Baker's relationship with Adam Cole. Conan made the following claim, quote, "I was the first one that said her and Cole had broken up. They were on me again. Now you see it's true. And I'm going to throw this little one in there. A very credible source said it happened because she was cheating on him." Now, Britt issued a public response to the claim via X. She said, quote, "I understand we as performers are expected to have thick skin through opinions and lives we read about ourselves, but spreading lies about my personal life is just low, weird, and something I won't tolerate. I've never cheated on anyone in my life. Hashtag tell your source." Now, of course, if we get any more details on this, we'll, of course, let you know in a future video. Alexa Bliss. Now, many people have been wondering when the former Women's Champion is set to return to WWE TV. Well, just 2 weeks ago, it seemed all but assured that Alexa Bliss would be making her return to WWE for the first time in nearly 2 years. Not only had Bliss herself teased a return before Raw's Netflix premiere, but reports indicated that WWE had been coming up with creative plans for the former WWE Women's Champion, as well as developing merchandise and promotional materials for her. Now it appears those plans are DOA. PW Insider is reporting that plans for Bliss's return have been, quote, put on hold indefinitely, end quote. The change was reportedly made prior to last week's episode of Raw in San Jose, California, where Bliss was set to make her return as part of the ongoing Wyatt 6 storyline. Instead, the Wyatt 6 were moved from Raw to SmackDown, and plans for Bliss's involvement in the faction, the Women's Royal Rumble match, or altogether are now off the table. Word within WWE is that the change in direction wasn't related to a creative issue nor a health issue, as Bliss remains ready to return. In fact, it appears the reason is a mystery to most in WWE, as many claimed not to know what was going on. One person, however, noted they believe Bliss's plans were scrapped due to a contract issue, though that belief hadn't been confirmed at the time of recording. Bliss's contractual status is currently unknown, though it's assumed she is under the same deal she was when she first took time off in 2023, first to recover from skin cancer and then to give birth to her first child. As such, it would appear that Bliss would still have plenty of time left on her WWE contract and could have time added onto the deal if WWE chose to do so. Now, let's talk about the ratings for Saturday's edition of AEW Collision on TNT. Saturday night's Maximum Carnage episode of AEW Collision averaged 342,000 viewers on TNT, up 1.5% from the previous week. Viewership for Collision has stayed mostly consistent over the past 3 weeks, ranging from 337,000 to 345,000. Collision drew a 0.10 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. That's up just over 11% from last week and ties the second highest rating the show has done in that category since November 16th. These numbers are for the TV broadcast and, of course, don't include data from Collision simulcast on Max. For the second straight week, Collision had competition from the NFL playoffs. The Washington Commanders versus Detroit Lions aired on Fox during the show. It also went against the NCAA basketball game on ESPN. That was the top program on cable in the demo. As compared to the same week in 2024, Collision's overall viewership was down 22.5%, while its 18 to 49 rating was down 16.7%. Now, yesterday, there were so many stories and rumors swirling about the status of Ricky Starks. And Ricky Starks was once again in the headlines. Fightful Select had reported a while back that Starks had asked AEW not to pick up his option on his contract in late 2023, which was ignored by All Elite Wrestling, and they subsequently picked up his one-year option and haven't used him since. Now, more details have emerged. Ibo of Wrestle Purist, Selfmade PW, and Fightful's Raw Post Show revealed on Wrestle Purist that Starks asked for his release, which Fightful have been told was months ago. As Fightful has reiterated a number of times, Starks hasn't turned down any creative. As things stand, his contract is set to expire in the spring. Starks was blocked from doing GCW shows, but is still able to do other independent wrestling events. He visited at AEW Full Gear backstage, where reportedly he was welcomed. Now, going to Dynamite last night, we have brand new AEW World Tag Team Champions. The party is officially over for Private Party. Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy were dethroned by the Hurt Syndicate on AEW Dynamite. Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, with their manager MVP on commentary, made rather sound work of the Tag Team Champions on Wednesday's show. While Benjamin is a multi-time Tag Team Champion in WWE and Ring of Honor, alongside the likes of Charlie Haas and also Cedric Alexander, the victory marks Lashley's first tag title of his career. Lashley has mainly been a singles competitor across his time in WWE, TNA, and now AEW. He was also a world champion in both WWE and TNA. Private Party had been champion since October 30, when the duo unseated the Young Bucks on Fright Night Dynamite to win their first AEW titles in a match that would have been seeing the team forced to disband if they lost. Fortunately for them, that was a one-time stipulation, and the duo is free to get back in the hunt against the new champions. Now, Christopher Daniels, he has confirmed what many had speculated, and it had been reported after Collision this past weekend. After more than 31 years of running the ropes, Christopher Daniels has announced that he is retiring, and Hangman Adam Page has the honor of being the victor in Daniels' last match. Page's last-minute match against Tyler Shoop went by in a whirlwind, which the former AEW World Champion connected with a buckshot lariat for a swift victory on Dynamite. Unsatisfied, Page connected with the Angel's Wings, only to be interrupted in his post-match beatdown by Daniels' arrival. Daniels, sporting a blue suit and a neck brace, stated things plainly. After his AEW Collision Texas death match against Page, he was told that he would never be able to wrestle again. After Daniels retired to the back, Page was left dumbfounded and angrily pushed cameras out of his face before the segment ended. Page and Daniels' January 18th Texas death match was nothing less of a brutal match with a fair share of headshots, barbed wire spots, and Angel's Wings attempted. While reports of Daniels' exit from in-ring competition began circling as early as January 17th, Daniels' imminent retirement is now confirmed. It's unclear whether Daniels is legitimately no longer medically cleared to compete, or if the neck brace is the means of writing him off television for the foreseeable future. While Daniels may be recently known for his work both on and off screen for AEW, he has been in the professional wrestling industry for decades. He began his singles career in 1993 and made his way around the independent scene, claiming singles title after singles title before breaking out in the early 2000s, first as an original Ring of Honor main eventer and then a prominent member of TNA's X division. He would ultimately return to ROH before becoming one of AEW's first signees back in 2019. Now, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, they're teaming up for the upcoming Grand Slam Australia show. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay opened AEW Dynamite with a confrontation that swiftly turned into a brawl with the Don Callis family. The pair of storied rivals met in the ring a week after Ospreay had come to Omega's rescue during last week's show, converging their respective animosities with Don Callis and his stable after Omega had dispatched of Brian Cage. Ospreay opened the segment in the ring with Tony Schiavone admitting that he didn't remember the last time he was in the ring with Omega, not as an opponent, but also putting across that he had nothing to do with last week's attack at the hands of Callis. He conceded that he couldn't beat them all alone, prompting Omega to interrupt him and recall the last time they were in the ring, he was hit by Ospreay with a screwdriver with the goal of getting ahead. However, Omega said that Ospreay never proved he was the best, and it took him getting diverticulitis for the aerial assassin to even become recognized, concluding that he would never team up with him. Both men got on each other's face until Callis' music hit and he emerged on the ramp. Omega ran towards Callis, getting taken out on the ramp by Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher before Ospreay ran to his aid. Cage and Lance Archer entered the fray to stack the odds against Omega and Ospreay, with the brawl spilling into the arena to the merchandise stalls and only ending with the pair jumping from the balcony and scaffolding respectively to wipe everyone out. They then ascended the scaffolding together, with Omega carrying a mic challenging Fletcher and Takeshita to a tag team match at AEW Grand Slam Australia. Now, the Death Riders, they also wreaked havoc last night on AEW Dynamite on TBS, as they've been doing on a regular basis. The Death Riders targeted the Rock and Roll Express once again. In the main event of the January 22nd episode of AEW Dynamite, Cope defeated Pac. On the video screen, the Death Riders, that being Jon Moxley, Marina Shafir, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, and Pac, were shown attacking the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, and Robert Gibson backstage. Castagnoli hit Morton with a concerto, and Gibson was laid out as well. The Death Riders then attacked Cope. Jay White tried to make the save, but he was outnumbered. The group ultimately left Cope lying and they walked away. The Death Riders previously tied the Rock and Roll Express up on the January 4th episode of AEW Collision. Now, a bit of an update here when it comes to TNA Impact, with TNA's partnership with WWE's NXT brand now completely secure following the multi-year agreement announced last week. The promotion is beginning to stretch their legs a bit by moving away from just tape shows and attempting a few live television tapings. This includes their post-Genesis episode airing this Thursday from San Antonio, Texas, and another taping next month at a venue that NXT is all too familiar with. Taking to X earlier Wednesday afternoon, TNA announced that they would be holding a live TV taping at Full Sail University on Thursday, February 20th. Much like this week in San Antonio, the promotion will hold a second Impact taping from Full Sail the following day. Tickets will go on sale for both events on Thursday morning. Longtime wrestling aficionados will know that Full Sail is hallowed wrestling ground, having served as the original venue for NXT during the third brand's glory years in the mid-2000s. The relationship ended during the COVID-19 pandemic, however, with NXT instead moving to the WWE Performance Center, where they have aired episodes ever since. As such, TNA's two tapings in Full Sail will be the first wrestling events held there since October 2020. The announcement, coupled with the strengthening of the TNA/WWE alliance, will undoubtedly lead to speculation regarding NXT's involvement with the Full Sail shows, though there has been no confirmation of NXT talent appearing at this time. The two tapings will take place on TNA's Road to Sacrifice pay-per-view, which is scheduled to take place on March 14th from El Paso, Texas. Now, speaking of TNA, a former TNA champion actually appeared prior to the Dynamite tapings last night. The January 22nd episode of AEW Dynamite emanated from Knoxville, Tennessee. According to the fans in attendance, a dark match was held ahead of the live episode of AEW Dynamite. In the dark match, former TNA Digital Media Champion Crazy Steve lost to Serpentico. This marked Steve's AEW debut. Steve is still listed on TNA's roster page, but he's not wrestled for the company since April. He has continued to compete on the independent scene. He also wrestled a couple of AAA shows. He also previously held the TNA World Tag Team Championship with Abyss as part of the Decay. Now, Powerhouse Hobbs, he'll be in action this weekend for AEW Collision Homecoming. First, Big Bill will seek revenge against Powerhouse Hobbs as he'll face the former TNT champion in singles action. Hobbs teased that the match could be a parking lot brawl, noting that he'll be waiting for Bill in the parking lot. Big Bill first laid out the challenge for a match in a New York Minute segment with Chris Jericho. Other matches that have been confirmed: Mariah May and Toni Storm will meet face-to-face. Daniel Garcia and 2.0 will face the Undisputed Kingdom. The Gates of Agony will also face Buddy Matthews and Brody King. Speaking of upcoming matches for AEW, several matches have been confirmed for next week's January 29th edition of AEW Dynamite. Only two matches were announced for next week's show. In one bout, the Last Outlaw himself, Jeff Jarrett, will face Claudio Castagnoli in singles action. The match comes after Castagnoli attacked Jarrett on this week's AEW Dynamite after he was called out by Jon Moxley Moxley. If Jarrett wins, he will earn a shot at Moxley and the AEW World Championship. Furthermore, Will Ospreay will continue his feud against the Don Callis family as he'll compete against Brian Cage in singles action. Now, one match was scheduled for last night's Dynamite, but it didn't end up happening. That involved Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe versus Nick Wayne was pulled from the show. Tony Khan took to social media just an hour before AEW Dynamite to reveal the news, citing flight cancellations as the reason the match was cancelled. Khan stated that the match will take place now at a later date. Now, Khan did not clarify in his statement if Joe or Wayne would still be competing on Dynamite or anything like that, but the flight cancellations were the reason the match was cancelled. Now, going to this week's edition of Raw, the January 20th episode of Monday Night Raw saw CM Punk fire a number of shots on the mic, with Hulk Hogan among those in the firing line. The segment was seen during the broadcast, and Punk targeted the likes of John Cena, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, and Sami Zayn before taking a shot at the WWE Hall of Famer, saying, quote, "You can put Hulk Hogan in the Royal Rumble. I'll throw his dusty ass over the top rope, and I'll kill Hulkamania once and for all." Fightful Select has revealed the backstage reaction to the Hogan references, which came just 2 weeks after the Real American appeared on the Monday Night Raw premiere on the streaming platform, to a somewhat negative reaction. According to Fightful Select's WWE sources, the line that CM Punk delivered was unscripted. It was also noted that there was no heat on Punk following his shot at Hogan, and that people laughed about it backstage. And finally, a bit of an update here when it comes to the future of the House of Black in AEW. On AEW Dynamite 2 weeks ago, Will Ospreay scored a victory over Buddy Matthews before he cut a promo telling Buddy that he didn't need a leader, seemingly teasing a split from the House of Black. A similar segment happened on that week's episode of Collision, with Cope speaking to Brody King and Julia Hart backstage, which seemingly confirmed they would be continuing on without Malachi. It was reported after Ospreay's match with Matthews that Malachi Black was believed to be done with the company, with him set to become a free agent in February or March. Since the rumours of Black's departure, both Brody King and Buddy Matthews have been trademarking potential new stable names for the group, including Hounds of Hell, Hellhounds, and Cerberus. The future of the group was confirmed on last night's Dynamite when a video aired featuring Brody, Buddy, and Julia together, saying they will continue on with no leaders, just violence. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.